Hello. We will be speaking about some of the vulnerabilities in the population of people who have cognitive and learning disabilities. To understand the vulnerabilities of this population, one must understand some disorders that fall into this category. These disorders include autism, Down syndrome, dementia, brain injury, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, dyslexia, aphasia, auditory processing disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and attention deficit disorder. It is estimated that 15 to 20% of Americans are affected by some sort of learning or cognitive disorder. This means a type of disorder that affects how the brain processes and restores information. These types of disorders can be environmental, genetic, or caused by injury. Learning disabilities are often considered types of cognitive disorders because they are known to be neurologically based processing problems that interfere with basic learning skills like reading, writing, or math.
Because of this, the population is vulnerable in ways affecting both their health and wealth. Some of the vulnerability comes in forms of abuse, the cost of care in forms of medication, education, and aids, lack of education for specialized teachers and tutors, and lack of job opportunities for this population. Specifically regarding abuse, people with cognitive and learning disabilities are 4 to 10 times more likely to be abused than people without disabilities. Children with cognitive disabilities make up 11% of all child abuse victims. A few reasons for this is because this population is often abused by a caregiver or someone they are familiar with, so many do not recognize that the actions are even considered abuse. Abuse also often happens in environments like group homes where it can easily be hidden. Another issue is that some cognitive and learning disabilities hinder communication capability, affecting the ability to report the abuse. Many also worry that they will not be believed if they do report the abuse, or believe that they deserve the abuse. It is also important to note that abuse can be any behavior that is unwanted, intentionally harms an individual, is insulting, or causes fear. Abuse can also be a caregiver manipulated medication or withholding assistive equipment that would promote mobility or communication. Abuse presents a vulnerability to the health of the population with learning and cognitive disabilities, but this population also faces issues regarding health like the cost of care.
Severe cases of certain disorders like Down syndrome and autism require special care that is extremely costly. Personal care assistants that help aid with daily living activities cost average $19 an hour, and some people need these assistants up to 18 hours a day. Some adult care centers provide a safe environment for adults with cognitive disabilities. However, these places on average cost $61 a day. In extremely severe cases, the individual may need to attend institutional care like a nursing home for 24-hour assistance, which on average costs $77,745 a year. Insurance, however, only covers part of this cost, leaving the family and individuals with the disorders in financial trouble. With learning disabilities like ADD, there is often a need for special education, therapy, and medication. However, usually only medication is covered under insurance for this type of disorder, leaving the rest of the costs to come from out of pocket. This is why the reason 62% of parents report out-of-pocket expenses related to their child's condition requiring therapy not covered by healthcare plans, averaging more than $5,000 per year.
Another health-related vulnerability is lack of education for this population. A reason for this is because a large number of children with learning and cognitive disabilities are being placed in general education classes. Placing children in general education classes with students without disabilities is proven to help children with learning and cognitive disorders get more instructional time, have fewer absences, and have better post-secondary outcomes. However, many teachers teaching these general education courses are not receiving proper training for the increase in students with disabilities. Because these teachers are not receiving proper training, some school systems are not offering this integrated classroom, which is proven to be beneficial. Or if the school system is offering this integrated classroom, they are not offering enough extra assistance for the students with disabilities to fully benefit from the experience. Some schools do not offer proper tutors or classes for disabilities at all, leaving many children with moderate learning and cognitive disabilities lost in a system with no help, preventing them from growing to the best of their ability, affecting both their academic, social, mental, and physical health. A final issue with education for people with learning and cognitive disabilities is the lack of upper level academic availability. Very few colleges offer programs that assist the population with learning or cognitive disabilities, and if they do, they often run from $1,300 to $13,000 on top of the regular tuition a semester. Because of the few schools that offer these special programs and the large price that it costs to attend these programs, many people with learning and cognitive disabilities are unable to receive proper education, which affects this population greatly.
The final vulnerability common in this population is the lack of job opportunities people with learning and cognitive disabilities are offered. The United States Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that working age people with disabilities in the labor force are one-third that of a person with no disability. On average, workers with disabilities face significant gaps in pay and compensation compared to workers with no disability. It is also known that 1 in 3 employment discrimination charges filed in the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission allege discrimination on the basis of disability. These statistics express the large inequality that is prevalent for this population today, despite having commissions like the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
These issues show the need for change and promote equality for this population. Some ideas on how to help this population include more regulation on abuse, increased medical coverage, and stronger education and employment programs. More regulation in nursing homes, home cares, and family care in regard of abuse would help prevent the large amount of abuse that happens in the population. Increased regulation by the government could include harsher punishments for facilities that are convicted of abuse or reward for people who discover abusive situations. Increased medical coverage for people with learning and cognitive disabilities would allow for the high cost of care to come down. This would allow for this population to get access to more necessary medical attention and alleviate the large financial stress these individuals and their families face. Finally, education and employment programs could be created that mandates that people with learning and cognitive disabilities receive proper education for their disability. This education would help this population grow and reach goals that would be unattainable without it. Employment programs could be set up to place people with learning and cognitive disabilities in workplaces that suits their needs and abilities, which would not only allow social interaction, but better the wealth of the person with the disability and the community as a whole. Overall, it is clear that people with cognitive and learning disabilities are vulnerable for multiple reasons, but it is also clear that change can be made to promote equality for this population. So what must we do about it? Thank you.